Alright, welcome. You are right on time for our Alchemy online class tonight. Let's see, this is going to be so... This is Claudia Autry.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Joseph Zenner. And we're going to do a brief summary of some things that we listed that we're going to make. We're also going to talk a little bit about the quality of oils and why that's important. We're going to discuss carrier oils and what carrier oils are better for what purposes and whatnot, a little bit of that. And then we're going to kill the live stream relatively early. We're not going to go too long on that. So what is an essential oil?
So an essential oil, this is what we're going to tell you. An essential oil is the lifeblood of a plant. It's the immune system of the plant. And what happens is that when you have a plant, it's going to have to deal with whatever the environment throws at it. So for example, if you have a tree or a plant and you've got a dog that walks by and decides to pee on it, it's got to deal with that urine in one way or another. So we have the option of drinking the water or not drinking the water. They're going to have to process it in some way. So their immune system is much more robust or specifically tailored to dealing with different toxins in a way that our system isn't. So we get to borrow their robustness. It's really cool. Now when you do use essential oils for a variety of things like
That's a dog in the background. There's not sex going on in the background of our class.
And there's a very
it's a dog.
There's a very interesting story.
He's really enjoying her intro to oils.
Yes. We'll talk about that later.
We have a romance enhancement.
There's a whole...
We're going to try it out on Rufus.
There's a very strange thing that's happened where this happens around me a lot, actually.
Dogs get excited? Oh.
We're just going to move on. So...
Just clarify.
So there's just, this is not unusual. So it happens for some reason. Anyway, so as I was saying, when you decide to use essential oils for a blend, whether you're going to choose to inhale it or apply it topically or even ingest it, it really becomes important to think about what the purity of the oil. So my suggestion to you is if you pick up an oil and it says for topical use only and you know that it's something that you normally can eat, such as peppermint or lavender or lemon, just think about what did they do to it that would make it topical use only. So
what did they put in it? They're saying you can't put it in your mouth. And there's some oils that are exception. Citronella, camphor, wintergreen. There's exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, if you're telling me I can't drink the lavender, why not?
But you don't eat camphor.
Right.
So.
But you put it on your skin. Is my point.
Yes, you could put it on your skin.
But yeah.
So the idea with that is, so there's that with purity matters, and in particular, we are very interested in using ameo oils, and there's a reason for choosing ameo oils over others. And I've got a list of all these. I don't know if you can see that.
They can.
Okay. All right. There's a list of all these testing that is done for the ameo oils, which other brands do this testing, but they go a step above that. They really have gone in, and there's two pictures down here, and I'll pass that around to the people here. So you've got one picture on the right, which shows this is a microscopic picture, and it's showing that the essential oil, that the first picture with the blue and the green shows cells and the cell membrane. And then this picture next to it with all the red shows the I think it's basil oil that they added to these skin cells, and it's penetrated the cell membrane. So what is really cool about this is that they prove for every batch of oils that it is actually going into the cell membrane and doing something. So it's not just sitting on top of it. And I think that that's a very important test, as well as the fact that underneath every bottle of basic blends like lavender, there's going to be a lot number, and the lot number allows you to go online and check and see what the results were. So they test every single batch of oils and make sure that it is clean, that it's pure, that it's cell permeable, as well as it meets clinical standards. And what that means is when we talk about, say, lavender, which is the one that I ended up picking up, when you have something like lavender, there are studies that show that lavender is good for sleep, relaxation, anxiety, and what lavender are they using. So in clinical trials, it's very important to be able to reproduce the results. And they basically have taken and come up with a profile for the lavender as to how much of all of the different things. And you're the chemical engineer, so you'd understand those parts better. So how many alcohols, esters, and other stuff that goes into a profile of a particular oil. And then they make sure that every oil meets that chemical profile or constituent profile. I guess that's
Yeah, the big difference is instead of just being about purity and like, oh, it's pure, you can drink it, which is great. Like doTERRA Young Living Oils, I drink them any day of the week. I love them. This company took it a step further and said, we're also going to look at percentage constituents when we, approve or not approve an oil. Just because your frankincense is pure doesn't mean we're going to put it in our bottles unless it has this percentage of this constituent and less than this percentage of this constituent and all that. And so it's the first company that's done that kind of thing. And where did they get those percentages from? The clinical trials, 11,000 clinical trials that were done. So the thing about it is there's no standard testing for essential oils. And maybe one day there will be. I hope the FDA doesn't do it, but maybe one day there will be. But until then, all the best companies are just creating their own standard that's really tough and holding themselves to it. And I think doTERRA and Young Living have great standards. And I think this is just different because it's just a different way of looking at it. And the importance to me in why you would want clean essential oils is because essential oils have like the key. Dr. Bruce Lipton wrote a book called Biology of Belief. Any of y'all hear that? Biology of Belief? So he talks about how the cell membrane is actually the brains of the cell, the membrane, right? And the membrane's what's doing the thinking, because you can remove the nucleus from a cell and it still lives for like 3 months. The nucleus is actually just like a copy center for like fancy architectural drawings we call DNA. The membrane is actually what's doing the thinking. I'm going to let you in. I'm not going to let you in. You're toxic. Get away. You're good. Come on in. So if you have funky oils, funky being pesticides, herbicides, fillers, all this stuff, they're still getting access to the cell because they still have that key. They're still an essential oil molecularly. So they're getting into the cell, but now they're carrying with them a pesticide and herbicide, which would have never got in on its own. So for that reason, I think, funky oils are worse for you than no oils. So like if you're going to play with oils and you don't have much of a budget, just save up your money and get a $20 bottle of lavender, because the $3 bottle of lavender is not lavender anyway. It's probably lavandin, lavender's cousin, which turns out is not so good for your skin. Smells similar, but so there's all these games that they play with essential oils, and like Whole Foods has 2 of the worst brands on the market. There's probably out of the top 100, out of the most popular 100 companies, those 2 at Whole Foods would be in the bottom 10 at least. Right. I would say.
So like, yeah.
And they have simple things like mint oils and citrus oils that you can't drink. I mean, we're not even talking about lavender or frankincense. Like, why can't I drink a mint or a citrus? Like, it's crazy. And that being said, do your own research. If you're thinking, oh, I was told not to drink essential oils, don't believe me. Don't believe anything I say. Do your own research. A lot of aromatherapy schools are teaching you should never consume essential oils. And it's just an old way of thinking. I mean, 25 years ago and before Young Living existed, I wouldn't have drank any essential oils either, because they were all having funky stuff in them. I mean, the whole organic term is a new term. Like, they just didn't know, and so back then that was the correct decision not to drink essential oils. But I think right now on the planet we have cleaner, better oils than we've ever had. I mean, we've been using these same plants to heal forever, but I don't think the ancients had pure, clear, less than 90 degree extracted, fractionated oils and all this stuff. So.
All of that is important. And even if you're just applying it topically, it's still going in through your skin and getting into your bloodstream. So there's still an interaction. So just be very careful when you choose which oil that you use and question the purity level.
Yeah, and let's talk for just a minute about how to get oils into your body, right? Because when I first started, I'll speak for me. When I first started looking into oils, it's like, well, obviously the most potent way or the strongest way to get them in is to drink them, right? It's going in, you're putting it inside your body as quickly as you can. And the second most must be to put it on your skin, right? And then the third would be to smell it. And it turns out, in my research, what I believe now is that it's a flip. When you smell it, it goes straight to your amygdala. It skips, the
blood-brain,
the blood filters and such like that, the kidney, all the things that filter the blood. It skips the acid reactor that's we call the stomach, like, so it's going directly into your brain. So that's the strongest way, especially if you're dealing with something mental, emotional, mood upgrades, things like that. You definitely want to breathe them, diffuse them. This is the best diffuser around as well. We do like this now. It used to be like this. You could breathe them for a little while and you have to put it down because it's so strong, and now so we put some air and just breathe it like that. Let's pass around an oil to breathe. What do we have?
So I've got a blend called Soothing Air.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
No, do that.
Okay. So Soothing Air, so you just put a drop in your hand. Here you go. And you can rub it together and then do what, either create a little diffuser if you really want a strong.
A little pipe like that. Breathe it in.
So just
3
putting your
times
hands
through the
together
mouth,
like that.
and then 3 times through the nose.
Or you could do what he's doing,
Breathe it
where
right
you have
there.
a little bit more
Maybe
air
like
and
that.
it may be less intense.
So at any rate, it's a little counterintuitive, at least for me it was, in terms of the strongest way to get oils into your body. Especially if you have like a headache. Oh, we're not supposed to use diagnosis today. Especially if your head hurts.
Right.
Like,
If your head happens to be
if
hurting,
your head happens to hurt.
or you've got congestion in your nose.
Congestion's a
or in your
diagnosis. If you
Oh,
have
is it? Okay.
phlegm in your nose.
Sorry,
I don't know
thanks.
what's the word. Yeah, and the reason I'll just point the elephant out in the room. The reason we can't talk about diagnosis is because the FDA, since we are not a drug company, we cannot say that we can help anyone with any diagnosis at all. So we have to be very careful with our language. In other words, I could never say I could help someone with diabetes, but I could say that I could help them balance their blood sugar. If that makes
More
sense.
symptomatic.
Yeah.
Correct.
So this would be
Exactly.
like the congestion and the
Well, apparently we can't use
breathing or-
congestion.
Is
So
that- that's a
I think
diagnosis?
congestion's a diagnosis. Maybe you can tell me better than me. I don't know.
I mean, I would think it would be a
stuffy nose.
yeah. I guess stuffy nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your nose is stuffed or you're having trouble breathing,
Yeah, we talk about
Forward.
seasonal concerns
Okay.
instead of allergies. So
Okay.
correct.
you gotta be
Yes.
creative with it.
Yeah, and they're very effective ways of using oils for seasonal concerns. So it's kind of cool. It takes more of a body balance type of approach versus taking a pill that's going to have extended release over 24 hours and dry you out.
Cool. So I think that's good enough. Is there any other questions on introduction to the oils? And I think that's good enough for an introduction to essential oils. Let's get into what we're gonna blend.
Are there any questions?
How many times would you want to do the hand diffusing?
I would use your intuition.
Okay.
But so it could be a couple. Let's say you have a lot of respiratory that you want, or a lot of breathing that you
Symptoms.
want to
Fill
do,
up
a lot of
symptoms.
symptoms. Thank you. A lot of symptoms that you want. Then you might use it more often. So maybe once an hour, or maybe a couple of times. I know that for when I have had, let's say my throat is hurting and I want to use oregano to help kind of balance out what's going on and help my sore throat get better. I might take that. I'll put a drop in. Oregano is very, very strong. So I put a drop in water and then take that maybe every couple of hours for the first day. And then after that, I would take it less. But usually after a day or two, it's pretty much taken care of. And I might continue for a couple more days afterwards. But
Yeah, if the seasonal changes are causing you lots of concerns, then use it more, and if not,
Yeah,
then use it less. I mean,
right.
Essentially,
And-
there's not an overdosing. Like you're
Yeah.
going to be.
you're not going to
Not
overdose by
generally.
breathing
more harm
oils.
than.
Not generally, no.
And for the seasonal concerns,
But I wouldn't take down the whole bottle every day.
Right.
That's not intuitively a good idea. Use common sense.
and for the seasonal concern, we do use the soothing air for aromatic to get in the body that way, and then we use what's called I used to call it something else, but seasonal concern balm. It's
Yeah.
just a simple blend: lemon, lavender, peppermint. Probably the 3 most popular essential oils. You put 1 drop of each once every half hour in a shot of water, and you drink it. And whenever your whenever your seasonal concerns go away, then you stop drinking it and you stop,
You can also.
breathing it in.
I also like to put that in apple cider vinegar. So I'm just really, taking
ain't no
advantage
joke.
of. Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm really wanting to.
Not for
I'm
sissies.
not wanting to have those concerns anymore. I don't have time for that. So I'll do this blend where I have the lemon, lavender, and peppermint, and put it in apple cider vinegar and take a shot.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
Yeah, and you could grab a nice fancy bottle and put some apple cider vinegar in it and put those 3 oils in it if you're having those seasonal concerns, and just use that on your cucumbers and pickle, carrots with it and celery. I just learned pickled celery is really nice.
Could you leave that in a fridge? How long would it be good for? Viable?
Forever. I mean, literally forever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the beauty of, that's a whole nother class, but that's the beauty of fermentation. I mean, my great grandma lived to be 100, and they said, what was your secret? And she said she ate something fermented in every meal. Germans do the sauerkraut, you got
Kimchi.
But at any rate, so you could do that, and then you could also put in your oil. I mean, you could put it in your cooking oil. Like if you're a lot of people cook with avocado oil, grapeseed oil.
Mm-hmm.
You can spice these guys up with some, oregano. Not a lot of oregano.
Right.
Rosemary, cilantro,
Exactly.
basil.
It's a great way of getting an infused cooking oil.
Yeah.
And it's immediately infused, so it's nice. And then you can add the rosemary in it to make it look pretty if you want. But
yeah.
That's just extra.
Because, for example, cilantro is really good at removing heavy metal toxicity from the body, specifically the brain. And you use it with thyme because thyme removes it from the cells. Cilantro kind of knocks it loose from the cells. No, cilantro removes it from the cell, thyme removes it from the body. So you use them in conjunction like that. And so if you put it in your oil and you just use it like that, you're going to get way more benefit than eating cilantro, because it takes about this much cilantro to make 1 drop of oil. So if the protocol, which it is like 3 drops 3 times a day, if you really want to cleanse some toxins, well, now you got to eat this much cilantro per day. And for some people that would be possible, especially in Texas.
It's really
we didn't
hard.
have tacos to make that happen, but it would have to be only cilantro tacos.
Yeah.
I'd like a taco with only cilantro, please.
Cilantro
Eight of them.
in the corn flour. Yeah, all of it.
The cilantro is.
It is in the
You have a
flour.
cilantro
and
tortilla.
Yes, the cilantro.
So there's that. We can make infused vinegars, and the beautiful thing about infused vinegars is, normally you would put your rosemary and your garlic, and you do what? You wait 3 to 6 months till you can use it. With the oils, like ready.
It is ready.
So it's
And
super easy to do that.
They are very, very potent also, so just keep that in mind. A friend of mine and I were making a rice pudding. Was it rice? Milk pudding.
Rose pudding sounds nice.
I know, that's really good too. But anyway, and at the very end we had the milk pudding made, and we wanted to put just a little bit of cardamom in it. And we put 1 drop, and I was thinking, that's not going to be enough. Oh my gosh, it was almost too much. So they're very potent. Doesn't take a lot. And if you, as a point of reference, 1 drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to about 25, 28 cups of peppermint tea. So, just as an order of magnitude, when you're drinking peppermint tea to soothe your stomach or something like that, that 1 drop takes care of it in a much different way.
Yeah, so if you go to make your tea and you're like, oh, I have my oils now, I can make peppermint tea, and you just add a drop and you're like, it's mouthwash.
It is.
If you want actual peppermint tea, dip a toothpick in, and then dip a toothpick in your tea. That's the kind of strength we're talking about. And not with all oils, by the way. Maybe with some of those funkier oils or weaker oils, you could use a whole drop and it'd be fine. But with real oils that we've been playing with for a while, it would be straight up mouthwash if you put a whole drop in a cup.
Exactly that. Which is, kind of nice in this weather to have like a gallon of water with a drop. It keeps you nice and cool. That's been the feedback I've gotten.
Yeah. Well, then
if you're working outside and,
Let's use that to transition into our
There you
blends.
go.
So one of the blends we talked about making in the event is called Liquid AC. Do you have some eucalyptus by chance? So Liquid AC is based on the principle that both eucalyptus and peppermint cool the body by touch. So we put it in little spray bottles like this. And I didn't bring any water to fill these bottles. I suppose I can fill it with this. Oh, perfect. Yeah, let's make some. No, we said we're going to make it after.
yes.
That'll just confuse you. So
Right.
y'all can figure it out. But in a bottle like this, it would be about 5 drops of peppermint and 5 drops of eucalyptus. Not going to be a whole ton of oils. And you're just going to spray it right on your skin when it's really hot outside. It's going to instantly drop your core temperature. If you have, if you're a mom, you have kids playing sports and such, you can fill an ice chest with ice water. Not just ice, you need the water too. And then, again, medium-sized ice chest, 5 drops of peppermint, plenty. And soak some towels in it. Take the towels out, put it around the neck. Core temperature drops. Really beneficial for people that are going to be out in the sun, Houston heat or otherwise. It's super fun. And
it smells nice. It's very refreshing. So let me pass this out so you can
Sure.
smell those.
Is it pretty stable?
You can
to
taste the peppermint there. The eucalyptus is not for consumption, but the peppermint you can taste. What's that?
Can you carry
So you
that
can
around
put that
in the
a
hot,
drop on a peppermint on your
weather and it would be okay?
hand
Oh, yeah.
and then
Okay.
cook it if
Yeah,
you
I mean, so these are called amber bottles. It's to protect it from the sun. If you open this up, well, let's use that as an example. So all good oils are going to be sold in amber bottles. If I were to leave this open, even in the sun, am I going to lose some? Well, of course, like they're aromatic. Aromatic means evaporatable. So if I do leave this lavender out in the sun with the cap open, I'm going to lose all my light ends. I'm going to be left with the heavy ends of the lavender. Would I throw it away? Heck no. I mean, it's just different. You know, it's like, it's heavier. It's thicker
It's
lavender
not
in a
gonna
way.
be
It's
as
the heavier
complete.
ended lavender.
It's not going to be
Still
complete
valuable.
scent. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not going to have the full spectrum that it used to because you
Correct.
lost all the light ends. But if you keep the cap on, I mean, I wouldn't keep your oils in your car. It's not a good idea over long term, but you can certainly keep them in your car a few times. When it gets hot, they'll be totally fine. Yeah, the oils they're surprisingly robust because, you know, they're antibacterial,
they're
antifungal, what's going to get in there and kick their butt? They kick other things' butt, so there's not much that can go in and
So you can
and
see
ruin
how
'em.
that would be nice and cooling.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about next? You want to lead us off and talk about Three Wise Men?
Sure. So Three Wise Men is a blend that we made. I guess it was
Actually, Jesus, I think, came up with this first.
Yes. Well,
It was
no, wasn't
inspired by
Jesus.
Jesus.
It was Jesus
Inspired by the birth of Jesus, we get Three Wise Men.
Right. And so what the Three Wise Men is a blend that we created, or we had fun with recreating a couple of years ago, especially during the holiday season. It was an inspiration. So, and it is created by frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And these were the three gifts that were brought to the baby Jesus, so we thought it'd be really cool to mix them together. So what's interesting about them is that frankincense, from an emotional perspective, is a masculine oil. So it represents the masculinity, it also is the oil of truth. So it's interesting that way. From a physical perspective, it is amazing in its anti-inflammatories, in its immune system support. It's just an amazing oil from that perspective. It's been found, studies have shown that it's been very helpful in helping with tumors, for example, in rats.
Cellular, and I don't know if we can say that.
Go ahead.
Actually.
Well, the studies say that the study says
I'll let it slide.
when
If we get edited later.
there were rats that had tumors and they used frankincense and it helped.
Yeah, anything.
That's all it said.
Anything cellular damage, frankincense tends to be pretty powerful.
So that's the frankincense. Myrrh, which is our second ingredient, is considered the mother of oils. So it's very cool that you've got the father and the mother represented. And it is incredible in its physical ability to do inoculation and also boost the immune system in a different way. So it was really interesting that you have that. And then you have gold, which is from a emotional perspective, is wealth, is purity, is glory. And from a physical perspective, there is a thing, just like you have colloidal silver, you have colloidal water, or rather,
Gold.
yes, gold. So that you can do the same thing with gold. So when we made this blend, we had both the frankincense oil as well as frankincense pieces, so solids, myrrh oil as well as myrrh pieces, and flakes of gold, which were edible. They were cake.
You've seen them before in Goldschlager.
Yes,
flakes.
That exactly. There we go.
Edible gold flakes.
Yes, as well as the gold water, and we mixed those all together and just created a really amazing blend. It was really fun, and I think it opened up a lot of people in that for the people who chose to drink it, it felt very, there was a lot of clarity and great dreams that happened.
Yeah, a lot of really clear dreams, colorful dreams. And again, gold is another thing that some people will say you shouldn't consume, so don't take our advice, research it, decide for yourself whether you want to consume gold. I would feel pretty safe telling people to put gold on their skin, but if you want to consume it, do your research.
Yes.
But it's interesting that, if this is me and Daryl, my boy Daryl Sprout did a webinar on this, but if Joseph and Mary were Essenes, which is a very strict Jewish faith, then the people that would have come with bearing gifts would have been Essenes as well, maybe, possibly. And if they were wise men in the Essene culture, they would have also been known as alchemists. That's just how it was. Like the wise Essenes were the alchemists, and alchemists don't play with solids very often. They wouldn't have brought a baby solid gold. They would have brought liquids. And if it just makes so much more sense if they brought liquids now, you know, frankincense activates the immune system, myrrh inoculates, gold activates brain synapse. That makes sense to give a baby. Solid gold, solid frankincense, solid myrrh. Okay,
What do you
you can
do
sell
with
it when
that?
you get 18. Like, just doesn't make as much sense, you know? I guess that would have been 11 for Jesus, right? Isn't that where he skipped town?
I don't keep track.
I don't remember it clear enough, but so
He didn't show back on the scene until he was 30.
no, he died when he was 30. Oh, okay. Obviously, this is not a Bible class.
Right, not a Bible class.
Okay, so that's 3 wise men. We may well make some this fall for Christmas time, especially if we can still get the gold flakes. What's interesting about that blend is gold on the liquid side and the solid side was cheaper. The cheapest of
Yes,
the 3.
it was the cheapest ingredient.
Because these gold flakes, like this big piece of gold for $4, but the sheet was it was like it was like atomic thin.
Yes, it really
gold
felt
sheet.
like it
if
was
you touch
one.
it, the whole sheet would just go.
Yes, that was
It's crazy.
It was
You had
a
to use
lot of fun to
tweezers.
make. Yes.
So yeah, that's with the 3 wise men. It was really good for focus, clarity, dreams, and anything skin related. It happened to be really
Yeah,
good for as well.
it was really great.
Okay, so
And it didn't taste bad or anything like that.
no, it tasted yummy.
You
I
did
had
good.
I had a bottle I was going to share tonight, and I broke it yesterday.
Oh no,
It's really weird.
I forgot to bring my bottle.
So
I was
let's
seeing if I had a spare one in here, but I don't. So
let's transition from that into skin blends, because I just wanted to talk briefly about what we would put into a skin blend, because we were going to talk, and we can
go
use
for
this
it.
to transition a little bit into also talking about diluents.
okay.
Because if I was going to make a skin blend, the essential oils I would play with would be tea tree and lavender, which we call the sister oils for skin, anything skin related, and frankincense is the father. So I would play with those 3, no doubt, and then for sure coconut, because coconut's just amazing for the skin. Avocado I would add as well, and then probably jojoba. I don't know about the rest of these. I don't know if they're good for skin or not. You could also put
They all have different properties. So the other ones that he's talking about, the carrier blends would be, you can have jojoba, which is a very thick blend. You can have sweet, what is it?
Almond.
Sweet almond oil. You can have grapeseed oil, apricot oil, hazelnut. You can really use any oil. You could even use olive oil if you really wanted to. But the question
leaves your skin a little greasy.
that's the second thing is what happens when you apply it to the skin, and also sometimes it affects the smell. So sesame oil, for example, has a very strong scent. So if you're making a blend with that, you may not like the way it smells with the sesame oil. He says it smells like Thai food all the time. So there's that. But of the other ones, like even avocado oil has a little bit of a scent, but it usually is okay. Grapeseed oil, it just depends. For example, avocado oil is a very thick oil. So if you've got oily skin, for me personally, when I've used this, it is too thick for my skin in the summer. Now I love it in the winter for my legs, for example, so it's really great. Wheat germ oil is also really good if you've got a lot of, if you're have dry skin, and so is jojoba oil. But then you can start getting into shea butter, and there's others. So it's kind of interesting.
This is a good one. I know I'm taking tangents, but we take tangents. Avocado is a great one to oil pull. Are y'all into oil pulling? Have you done oil pulling? Have you done it? Mm-hmm. So oil pulling is just based on the premise that the easiest access to our bloodstream, other than maybe genitals and ears and eyes, is the mouth. So you put the oil in the mouth and you swish it around for about 15 minutes. You can do it in the shower. I do it sometimes at work before anyone gets there. I'm just walking around and just swishing my oils around. And it pulls all the toxins out of your blood and puts them into the oil, and you just spit it out.
So you can do that with avocado oil. I do
It
that
widens your
with,
teeth too.
It does.
Pretty cool.
I've used coconut.
I use
Coconut's
oil.
probably yummier, but I've used avocado. I use olive oil to do it a lot as well. And then sunflower seed oil is kind of yummy as well, if you like that.
So it's just kind of interesting. Do not swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Spit it out. Don't swallow it. And it sounds really gross, like you have a bunch of oil in your mouth. It doesn't feel that way.
It feels pretty gross to me.
Really?
I think get over it. I mean, like it's like my body's constantly like, spit this out. What are you doing? Spit this out. What are you doing?
No.
It's like, no, I'm not. I'm
when you
oil pulling.
when you spit it out, it doesn't feel like your mouth is all oily and gross.
Oh, after? No.
Yeah, after.
Sorry.
I mean,
but when I have it
after.
in my mouth, I want it out of my mouth.
Well, it's weird.
It's weird, yeah.
Well, nobody wants to be swishing anything in their mouth for 15 minutes.
I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. I thought it'd be kind of nice, but it's not.
Well, after you
Worth it,
spit
though.
it out, though, your mouth does not feel oily. It actually feels nice and clean. And then you can always follow up with like a drop of peppermint or something if you really want to just have happy mouth.
Word.
Or an immune blend. So
Yeah.
for a mayo, that's Pro Shield, and so you can use that, and that works well.
And if you want, we have things like a lot of people don't realize when you go to the dentist, then they put a little something on your gum to make it numb before they give you a shot. That's clove oil.
Mm-hmm.
So, and clove oil happens to also be really good for the gums. It's super good. So you can add a little clove oil in there. Don't add too much because clove oil is hot.
It's
It'll burn you.
very strong.
And let's talk about that for a sec, and then we'll go into the sunscreen.
Sure.
So I just want to talk about hot oils because there is some danger to oils for people that haven't played with essential oils. Oregano is easily the hottest. And when I say hot, meaning it can burn your skin, it can definitely burn your tongue, mouth, lips.
It can absolutely burn that. And I have had, this is clove oil that I'm passing around.
Do we have a volunteer to burn themselves?
No.
I've been burned with tea tree, straight tea tree.
Clove.
Before.
I'll happily put clove in my mouth. Clove is not that strong in terms of being hot, but it's up there on the list.
It is. And then here's, I guess I could have passed.
I used to do classes and I would take
Just
oregano. Do I want to do it right now? Yeah, why not? I'll do it. So this is just for the purpose of the class. Don't ever do this on your own. I'm touching it. Don't do this. I'm going to put it on my head and then I'm going to show the screen a little bit what it's going to do.
So I'm
Just taking one for the team. Because
so
this
I'm
kind
going
of
to
thing
show
is
this.
something
I'm going to
people
show
will
this
remember.
up close. So
Yeah,
that
there
this
are
is
no-
the before.
There are no marks on my head. I don't have horns or anything yet.
Yeah.
Have you been with me in a class that I do that? That I do the circle?
No, but I bet I
No.
put oregano on my skin.
It leaves, it leaves an impression.
Absolutely, even my skin.
Yeah, I started doing that because I would give the warning in class about hot oils and stuff, and then time after time I would have people going, "Why didn't you tell me oregano was a hot?" I did tell you. You were
So let's do the
sleeping
demo.
in class. So what are some other hot oils? Cinnamon,
Cinnamon is also very hot.
cassia, which is cinnamon's first cousin, Cinnamomum cassia. Both of those, by the way, are delightful in water.
Oh yeah.
One drop for like an
wanna
after
smell
dinner
this?
drink, but your lips are gonna burn.
Sure. Yeah. So
But if you dilute it in water, it's not as hot, and the likelihood to burn you.
Well, the water, it's gonna sit on top of the water, so it'll still burn your lips.
So
I just like that burn. So if you don't like your lips burning, don't drink cinnamon oil.
Okay.
It feels like if you've ever experimented with any of like lip plumpers, where you put lip gloss on and it's supposed to plump up your lips.
Oh yes.
That
And
burns?
it kind of
It does, yeah.
It does kind of, not as much as any of these oils, but that's the sensation, only more. And whenever, if you do happen to have an accident with the oils, the best way of relieving that is to apply a carrier oil. So get your olive oil. Not water.
Okay.
Not water. Because this is an oil, so an oil will be diluted with another oil, but not with water.
Especially in
oil and
your
water do
eyes.
not mix.
If you get peppermint in a kid's eyes, which is going to happen, I mean,
It does.
these are medicines. They should be kept away from. They should be kept in a medicine cabinet. But kids are going to get into them, and when they do, you want to use oils to get. You can pour olive oil, coconut oil right into your eye. You'll be fine. If you use water, it'll just make it work worse, real bad. It'll make it pretty bad real quick. Because oil and water don't mix.
There you go. But you can, like, for the oregano, if
Do we
you
miss
do...
any hot oils? Lemongrass can be hot for some
Lemongrass
people,
can
not
be
all.
hot.
Melaleuca, tea tree oil, also called, can be hot for some people. Thyme can be hot for very few people, but some.
Yeah.
Am I missing any?
No, I think that's all of them.
Might be missing one or two, but I think that's it. I think that's
Well,
that's
those are
most
the-
of the hot
those are
ones.
the main
Oregano
ones.
being the one. Oregano's in a different category of
Yes.
fear,
Okay.
and then the rest.
And
Or case to
oregano,
case.
just to drive this home. Okay, he's gonna get red in a moment.
Is that right yet?
It's not red yet. But it can actually dry out your skin to such a point that it would dry it off. And I have seen some people who've used it, and there was an actual, like, it looked like a chemical burn. It was really burnt. And, you know, then you have to treat it as such. And so then you've got this one little, for whatever, let's say you were trying to use it on a pimple or something like that. And now you've got this big old scab. So it's just, don't use oregano that way. Just be very mindful when you do use it.
Yeah, and oregano is quite consumable in terms of, is it approved for consumption? I personally would not consume oregano unless I had something serious, like not a cold or maybe if it was a flu that was really nagging, but I'd have to have something serious to consume oregano because it's very taxing on the liver. Taxing. And so, yeah, just be careful with oregano. Enough said.
All right, so moving on.
So moving on to, yeah, like in terms of antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, antiparasitic, you got your big three. Oregano, tea tree or melaleuca, and clove. Between those three, man, those three kick things butt that don't belong in your body. So now we're going to move on to Skinny Beach. I think that name's taken too. But at any rate, we created...
The Zenner Skinny Beach.
Yeah. So I created a sunscreen that melts fat cells, keeps bugs away, reduces aging spots, and is a salad dressing. So, and I even have a sample of it. It's the color it is. Now, if you want to add, I'm going to pass that thing and smell it. If you want to add zinc oxide to that as a powder, you could, and a little bit of beeswax and a little bit of shea butter, you can make it more creamy. This is more of an oil form. A lot of people are going to be weirded out by this, so I have a different version. I didn't bring it downstairs, but I have a different version I can show you all later of the more creamy version of it. That's not consumable because once you put zinc oxide in it, it becomes non-consumable. But this is actually a pretty decent little oil to add some apple cider vinegar to and make a little salad dressing.
Absolutely.
Made a salad with it.
I haven't used it, or I have eaten it, so it's good. I will vouch for it.
Yeah, we soaked some avocados in it. It's pretty nice.
It was really good.
And so
I actually ate them the next day, so they were kind
were
of
they
marinated.
even better?
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing we've been doing is pickling avocados. Never would have thought. Pickled avocados. So good. So red raspberry seed oil, which is a carrier oil, not an essential oil, is like 25 to 28 SPF. So that's a good starter base. Did I bring them?
No.
I didn't. I have some upstairs. I can grab later. Wheat germ is also in the 25 area. It's another good starter base. And then we have carrot seed oil that's in the mid-20s. So those are good starter bases for these oils. My head's starting to heat up, by the way. It feels nice. But so I'll tell you a quick story about wheat germ oil. I had a first date to go tubing. It's an interesting first date in Austin with this girl. And I was so proud. She's a hippie. I was so proud. I had my homemade sunscreen. And first thing she says, it smells like crap. And then she puts it on her bikini, and it dyes her bikini. So wheat germ oil is out for me. But it still has SPF, so I mention it for that purpose. But I don't use wheat germ oil anymore. Actually, there's a little bit in here. Not much. I just had some I put in there. But so anyway, those are the three to start with.
And that's the one of the ones that's really, really thick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then coconut oil has an SPF of 8. Avocados about 6. So at any rate, you can use a few of those. And then you got things like helichrysum, myrrh, lavender, and patchouli, which are also good at blocking UV from the essential oil side. And then I'll add, we'll add some things like peppermint to keep it cool, and also to help melt fat cells, because we mentioned that as a benefit, and it makes it smell nice. And then what else do we add? Oh, added some frankincense, which is good for the skin. So instead of doing damage to your skin when you put on sunscreen, wouldn't you like for your aging spots to get better, not worse, being in the sun? And so that's where frankincense comes in. You can put a little bit of tea tree oil, but tea tree oil to me just ruins the smell of it. And so I stay away from tea tree oil, but you could if you want it to really help your skin. But the idea here is to reverse the damage of their skin. If you're going to be taking the time to rub something on your skin, and even more so your kid's skin, wouldn't you want it to be something that's going to, upgrade your skin, not make it worse? Because these sunscreens
not have to
are pretty doggone toxic.
Not have to detox it later.
Yeah. I mean, they're not as toxic as DEET from the bug repellent side, but they're pretty toxic in terms of what they put, especially when you get really high up there, like above 30 SPF. That's just bad news. Those chemicals just shouldn't be on the skin, because it's going right in the bloodstream.
Right. Another thing is that there is that DEET and sunscreen interaction when you're using just regular off the shelf type of products, and they're not actually supposed to be used together, and so they do have a chemical reaction that's not healthy.
Yeah, there's a lot of studies that are showing that a lot of the skin cancer that we thought was due to the sun wasn't really the sun. It was these funky sunscreens and things like that.
That's interesting.
All right,
so protect yourself from the sun in more healthy ways.
Yeah. So that's our sunscreen. There's actually a recipe for that at josephzenner.com, zenner.com/recipes. You can find that and many other product recipes if you want to make your own stuff.
And now for the mosquito blend.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Is that next?
Sure. So whether we're playing with sunscreen or mosquito blend, we want to make sure the first thing we understand is what oils are photosensitive, because we don't want to be putting something on our skin that when the sun hits it, it's going to change the color of our skin. It looks like fake bake, like the color change. It's like that weird orange from fake bake. Or what do y'all call it?
Self-tan.
I found out in Louisiana we call it fake bake. Yeah, they call it self-tan or QT. What was it? Quick tan? I work with a girl, we called her QT because she quick tanned a lot. But
Do you want to try?
Sure.
Okay.
So we'll pass around some Pure V. So the photosensitive oils are mostly the citrus. So if you're going to be making a bug spray for a camping trip only at night, then sure, use citrus, because citrus actually are great for bug spray.
So this is a blend that I'm passing out that's called Pure V that is very helpful. And what it has in it is it does have a citronella, so you can smell that. It's got, however, it has these other citrus in there, which is lemon and lime. You're also smelling fir and pine, tea tree, and cilantro.
This
So-
has a lot of citrus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, it
so
has
that's
it has
to use
lemon
at
and
night.
lime. It has lemon and lime. So this would not be good for nighttime, or rather for daytime, in the sun use, because of the lemon and lime. But it also has fir, pine, citronella, tea tree oil, and cilantro. So that was the rest of this blend.
Yeah, and I would say
His blend is not going to have the citrus, so that would be a in the sun blend.
Right.
Anti-mosquito in the sun.
Yeah, and I would say if you're in the shade, I mean, outside during the day, in the shade, you're fine. It would be intense sun before photosensitivity start to come out, like, and they start changing colors of your skin and such. Okay, but let's talk about it. NahSquito. I wanted to use NahSquito, but it was taken. So we're going with NahSquito until we come up with a better name. So we've got clove, lemongrass, cinnamon, rosemary, citronella, tea tree, eucalyptus, cedar, lavender, peppermint, and thyme. And so, do you just spray straight oils on yourself? No, you can mix it with water. We've done a lot with water, and then I recently upgraded to witch hazel. You can mix it with witch hazel, and this has a little bit of value on its own. Like, you could use this on its own, and so with the oils, it's like steroids. So witch hazel is a better diluent. You could also use pure grain alcohol, PGA or whatever it's called, Everclear. You can use that as well. And there was one other diluent.
And the reason why you would want to do that, you put the alcohol versus the water.
Well, I mean, alcohol can help keep bugs away.
Okay.
And water. The water's just a carrier to spray it. It's just you shake it up and spray it. The water's just carrying. The water doesn't have a benefit. So if you can use something that has a benefit, go that route. In terms of what percentages of each of these oils to use, I would just play with it. And we were talking about that earlier. If you're going to go into like deep woods, I wouldn't just count on essential oils necessarily. I would be drinking lemongrass, eating lots of cinnamon, eating lots of rosemary, eating lots of garlic. And if you have a house, like you mentioned that, mosquitoes are bad at, I would plant as many of these plants as possible, and just have that stuff in the air. So you have, multiple approaches, inside out, outside in approach. But I think if you put this on thick enough and often enough, I think you'd be okay, even in thick bug territory. I've used it successfully, not in super thick territory. And I know one time we were at Flipside and the flies were kicking our ass, and it was working. This stuff was working, but only for like 20 or 30 minutes. But it's still better than nothing. The flies were just brutal if you didn't have it. So I think that's it with that. And in terms of how much would I use of each, it would matter more to me personally, like how much do I have and how much is it per bottle, than, you know, oh, use this amount of that. And it's all arbitrary. I mean, you're basically just creating something. You're going to see if it works.
Well,
the lemongrass is going to be the strongest, and tea tree. Lemongrass and tea tree I would use more of because they're cheap and they're strong. Is that it for bug spray?
Well, there are. I mean, if you wanted to get down into it, you can. There's some that are a little bit better for certain bugs versus other bugs. But
oh yeah, this is mosquitoes, by the way.
This is
just
just
to be clear.
mosquitoes.
This is just mosquitoes. There's gnats. You could look up for gnats and, you know, all the different bugs that
and roaches
bother people.
and whatever.
Mosquitoes are the only bugs that bother me. No, that's not true. Flies bother me. Just talked about that. Such a liar. So.
Sometimes.
So we're going to go on to, I think, our last blend. What else did we say we're going to talk about? We talked about everything we said we were going to talk about. The last blend is called Shhhh. And this is our romance enhancement blend. Yeah, I think we're going to have a symbol with it too. It's on the bottle. That's my head, by the way.
It's getting redder. So let's show that.
Because it will go away. We might want to show it at its peak. It feels like it was worse a few minutes ago.
Ooh, there we go.
It's all right.
See?
Can you see the red?
You can kind of see the red. Stop making faces.
Can y'all see the red?
A little bit, yeah.
So you'll remember this, right? Oh,
I've had a tea tree burn before.
So you
Yeah?
remember it
So your
from...
skin's sensitive to tea
Oh
tree?
yeah, to everything.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially for kids, dilution is the answer. Dilution is the solution, as we used to call it in chemical engineering.
yes, dilution is the solution.
Dilution is the solution, especially for kids like 5 and younger. We don't really recommend putting oils directly on kids that young. Even maybe a little older than that, I wouldn't put them directly on. Dilute it. And by the way, for those people that have cats, it turns out there's a lot of oils that really jack with cats.
Don't use oils on cats.
Don't use oils on cats. Cats get jacked up. So, yeah. Okay, so back to Shhhh. So these are going to be pheromone activators. They're going to, what's the other word I'm looking for? Pheromone activators. I can't come up with it.
Romance enhancers.
Yeah, but physically in the body, they're doing something else. Oh well, it's been too long since we talked about this. So the oils that we're going to play with in this blend, we're going to have jasmine, ylang-ylang, nutmeg, lavender, sandalwood, patchouli, bergamot, cinnamon, vetiver, clove, and helichrysum. And this isn't just about, oh, that smells good and my pheromones are activated now. This literally, I've used this to help clients with malfunction. I can't say the other thing because it's a diagnosis, but with testicular malfunction, that's not a diagnosis, right?
Which one?
Testicular malfunction? No, it wouldn't be testicular.
It's
It would
not
be.
testicular.
It would be the other, but yes, that would be.
You get the point.
Dysfunction that would,
Dysfunction
that
down
might-
there.
Yes.
Troubles. And yeah,
men folks.
it helped.
troubles.
And the reason for that is the helichrysum is the oil of blood circulation and blood flow. Helichrysum is really powerful. That's super, super pricey. But if you can afford it and you really have an issue in that area, use a lot of helichrysum. And it's going to be really super valuable for getting yourself fired up, put it that way.
So here's some hope.
So cinnamon is the oil of sexual harmony. So that makes sense that cinnamon would be in there. There's a really good prayer in the Emotional Healing with Essential Oils book on cinnamon, about how cinnamon benefits and such. Pass that around, why not? Ylang-ylang is the oil of the inner child, so being playful, you know, puppy love type stuff. Jasmine, both jasmine and rose. I didn't mention rose, but rose is good too. Both those are about divine love and such. Lavender is emotional honesty, so you could see how emotional honesty would help in any romance blend, right? We want to be more emotionally honest with each other. Sandalwood is grounding. Patchouli is about being comfortable in your own body, in your physicality. So it would make sense to have that. And so you see how all these are tying together. When you look at all these from an emotional standpoint, it makes sense why they would all come together to facilitate romance. And the coolest thing about them is, do we have, I think,
This is patchouli.
I gotta watch where I rub my fingers. I still have oregano on my fingers.
Yeah, you do. Do you want
Testing.
some oil?
I didn't get it mine.
Okay.
Which one is this?
A patchouli.
Do you have this?
Yes,
So-
somewhere.
So, again, I have oh no, I do have a blend upstairs. So after we kill the class, I'll show you guys how it activates, because it's going to smell much different on a male than a female, like way different. And then the bottle is going to be a third way different smell, and that's just the pheromones activating. Now, the interesting thing about this, I did some thinking on this and a little meditating on it. I realized we are attracted to people chemically. Like, people talk about, oh, the chemistry. Like, when I met them, like, there was this powerful chemistry. You wanted to make out with them or whatever. Like, that chemistry, that chemical attraction. Yeah, that's from pheromones. But what that means is that as two humans that have DNA and that would like to possibly share DNA, they would make a baby that's both healthy and pretty. Because that creates, continuation of the species. So really, when you have that, that chemistry that you really want to attack the other person,
That's the base of the romance.
that feeling is just because your DNA with that person would create a more beautiful and more healthy child, and then that proliferates the human race. It has nothing to do with whether we'd be successful in a relationship together. Which is why I think so many dang relationships just don't work. Like, the chemistry's there, but nothing
Beautiful
else is
babies,
there.
But that's it.
Yeah, they made beautiful, healthy babies, and then they moved on to something else and got divorced. And people always talk about how divorce is bad, but I don't believe divorce is bad.
Did you want to
I'm
play with this or not?
I'm kind of good. We'll wait till we kill the class so that we'll do a little demo with them. But yeah, so that's the basics of our Shhhh blend. If you're looking for that recipe on the same link I gave earlier, you can look for the name Doodlebug. That's a name Jordan Pinnell came up with. He had created his own recipe. The recipe I have up there is my own creation of my twist on his take. And then since then, the name has changed to Shhhh. But you can find it on Doodlebug on that recipe page. And any other quick recipes we want to give out? Any recipes y'all are... Oh, I know one. A deodorant. Because deodorant's a big one, right? Because of aluminum. Everyone knows about this. Like, aluminum is really toxic for our brains, our memory, focus, clarity. There's aluminum everywhere, but specifically in our deodorants. So one of our deodorants we came up with is called Yummy Brain. Because it's like, what if we can use, remember we talked about sunscreens, what if we can upgrade our skin when we're putting on sunscreen instead of downgrade? What if we can upgrade our brain when we're putting on sunscreen instead of downgrade? So instead of aluminum, we're going to use colloidal silver, bacteria killer like no other. I mean, I'm talking crazy antibacterial. Use colloidal silver as the base. Mm-hmm. And then for men, I would use like a sandalwood or frankincense. Those both go through the blood-brain barrier in the brain. So they're really great for brain health. For a woman, you could use, something like lavender and sandalwood, maybe.
Yeah.
Something
lavender and sandalwood, or even chamomile.
Lang-a-lang.
Lang-a-lang.
Something that smells like you want to smell.
The florals.
And then, so that would be like a liquid spray if you wanted to make a deodorant spray. If you want a more solid form, you can use baking soda and just put it in baking soda and. One more thing that we were adding to the baking soda. Is it shea butter? Are we mixing it up?
Shea butter, I think.
Shea butter, colloidal silver, baking soda. I think that's right. So it's easy to make good deodorants like that. The consistency is going to be what the problem. When you try to make the solid form, it's a little weird to get the consistency right, where it's a solid form. But if you don't mind just taking a little thick gel, it'll be fine. And then the other thing is toothpaste. For toothpaste, really easy. Food grade baking soda, coconut oil, and clove. A little peppermint to bring it up, and a little orange too. I like orange in toothpaste. And then you can drink orange juice after, and it's not weird. Okay, so we good? I think we're clear. I think we've talked about everything we said we were going to talk about. We took about double as much time as I thought we would, but that's normal. So anyway, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, you can post them below and maybe someone will answer them, but I probably won't. If you want your questions answered, please join us on our Facebook group called SEAMS. It's Council of Emotional Alchemy and Molecular Science, CEAMS. And you can ask questions in there, and one of us will get to it.
We have a couple more classes coming up, too.
Oh, yeah, we have some more classes coming up. Claudia's got one in Houston next week.
Yes, I have. Yes, so I have one that's coming up. Just check out our Facebook. Actually, check out Facebook and see it. But there's one that's coming up on October 1st that is going to be related. I'm going to be addressing what you can use, which oils or what other things you can do to help yourself with sleep. And I've got a really good friend of mine who is an acupuncturist, so you can kind of see how acupuncture helps with sleep, as well as oils or anything else like that. In November, I'm going to do one related to blood sugar, so diabetes control or other things that you could do, whether it's from the acupuncture point of view or if there's oils that might help with that, or other tips. So that would be also something else that's coming up. And on October 14th, I'm also going to teach a real simple emotional alchemy class at Path of Tea. So that's on a Friday at 7 o'clock. And all of these are posted on
josephzenner.com/events.
Thank you.
You can find all these. And there's a link to that in the SEAMS group. So we're covered. And I just realized we didn't mention moringa, so I'll mention it. It's the miracle plant. We do a lot of stuff with it. We help people lose weight. We help people get their blood chemistry straight, get off pharmaceuticals. It's an amazing plant. If you're looking to cleanse and you don't want to like struggle or use willpower, you want your cravings to just go away, look into the miracle plant. Researchmoringa.com. Talk to someone that shared this video with you. Ask them if they can get you moringa wholesale. If they can't, reach out to one of us. We'll find someone that can. But it's easy. I mean, it's $20 for a week cleanse. It's not like you're talking about a huge investment to cleanse with moringa. It's a really powerful plant, and even if you don't get it from us, we recommend getting it from somewhere. Moringa rocks, but no one else has what we have. We use the whole plant, and other people only have the leaf. So that's all I'll say about that.
Yes.
Thanks, y'all, for joining us. Namaste, y'all. Much peace and love. Bye.